Hi everyone, it's Brook Berg with Parenting Behind the Behavior. Today we are going to chat a little bit about tweens, teens, and setting limits with them. And before we do that, it's really important for us to first recognize that the brains of teenagers are literally hardwired at this point to push boundaries. It's good, it's normal, but it's definitely not easy. Brain image studies have shown us that there's several areas of the brain that actually make adolescents more sensitive to the rewards of peer relationships than that is for adults. So this really oftentimes motivates teens to focus on their peers when they make decisions, oftentimes in situations that could include risky behaviors. In addition, the prefrontal cortex part of our brain, which is responsible for mature decision-making and self-regulation, really develops gradually over time. So it takes a while for our brains to develop and have the ability to really make those decisions in a way that we expect that adults would do that. It's also normal for our teens to think that the world sort of revolves around them and that everyone is watching what they're doing and that they have this audience. And actually in today's time, with the amount of social media that our kids are on, oftentimes they're making decisions based on what they think their followers want to see or want them to do. So it's important to keep those things in mind as we look at setting our limits in our household. And because they're going through so much, I would ask you to consider these two things when you set limits. Number one, understanding and empathy. So try your best to see things from their perspective and acknowledge their feelings. Even when you have no idea where these strong emotions are coming from and they might be out of the blue, still acknowledge them because those feelings are true and real to your child at that time. And also remember that we don't have to attend every argument or power struggle that we're invited to. So we have the chance to just step back and walk away from some of those if we need to. Number two, understanding and remembering your role. Our teens need parents. They have lots of friends, they have friendships built, but they need someone in their life to set those limits because that teaches them and tells them that you care about them, you want them to be safe, you love them. And just like when you had your little toddlers running around and you implemented things in your household to protect them, we need to do that with our teens as well. And even though they might be taller than you or they might outsmart you in technology, it's still important that we as parents set those limits and have those boundaries in our household. And do that by taking a look at your morals and your values and what you find important in your family. So a few examples of the types of limits that you might want to start with, or at least reflect on to see if you have these in your family, could be number one, thinking about things around safety, like I mentioned before. So technology, where they do technology, when, with whom, all of those things are really important, and it's important that they know those expectations up front. If your child's old enough to drive, thinking about the limits and rules around driving. Another important one for our tweens and teens, especially how I mentioned before that it is normal, developmentally normal for them to be thinking in terms of like risky behaviors or pushing those boundaries. So talking to them and having rules and limits around dating and sexual behaviors and substance abuse. So this is when all of those things start to come up, and we as parents need to be aware and cognizant of this. It's also a great idea to have a code word or a code emoji with your child so that if your child is faced with a situation that they need to get out of, that they can text you this code word and you can help them out, no questions asked. Again, thinking about things, setting limits around time limits. So do they have a curfew? When do they need to be home? When is an appropriate time to be in their beds with no devices so that they can get good sleep? And then other healthy habits like chores and responsibility around the household, personal hygiene, And then ethics and morals as well. So being able to control their emotions and act appropriately around people, whether that's in person or online, just being that responsible adult. So as you set limits in your household, it's important to be consistent and follow through with consequences if and when they do not follow those limits. And this isn't to be punitive or to have these punishments to make their life miserable. It's rather to have life lessons. So consequences that are directly connected to their misbehavior that can help them learn to be responsible adults. One other quick thing is it's really important to keep a close eye on your teen's stress level and their mental health. So there are so many academic stressors, social problems, sports-related pressures, things that our kids are going through, like preparing for the future, especially during this time, can be really overwhelming. So trying to keep those lines of communication really open and have empathy for them as they move through this time is really important too. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.